And we're recording. What I'd like to do is ask all the coaches to briefly go around and introduce themselves. And then we'll get started with our presentation. So let's start with our boys coaches.
Hi, I am Coach Megan, probably also going by Coach Neihart. I'm coaching the 7th and 8th grade boys.
And not here. Who was that? Not here is Coach Kevin. He's moving into town this week. And then once he gets settled in, he'll be joined with Coach Megan and the boys. Our 7th grade girls coaches. You're on mute, Morgan.
Sorry. I'm Morgan. I'm coaching 7th grade girls.
Along with
Megan Wheeler.
Okay, hi. I am also Coach Megan. And I'm coaching 7th grade girls and sometimes 8th grade girls.
And our 8th grade girls coaches.
Hi, I'm Coach Bean, and I am coaching the 8th grade girls along with Mo. Mo, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mo, and myself, Megan, Morgan, and Megan Wheeler are all part of the senior team, the senior Orion team, just to give a little more info there.
Cool. So our Orion athletes are all athletes who are training to make the national team, and they train here at Saratoga, and then they work with our middle school in the afternoon. So we have a pretty cool setup where our middle schoolers get to work with people who have worn Team USA gear, and that is pretty cool. So we're pretty lucky, and we're fortunate, and we have an awesome setup. Let's get into. Kat, do you want to talk? Or you want to pretend you're not here?
I can just say hi. I'm Eric Catalano, the executive director. I coach the varsity girls, and probably communicated with a lot of the Learn to Row parents for the new mods at some point over the summer. So thanks for coming.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to share my screen. Share. Disable. So what I'm going to ask is that if you have any questions during our presentation today, that you just drop them in the chat, and Coach Mo will be fielding them and then kind of interjecting them at the appropriate time. So if you have any questions, just write them in the chat, and Coach Mo will make sure they get answered. All right. So welcome to our meeting. All right, we're talking about mod, and we do have some. We did invite our Learn to Row parents to come to our meeting and kind of see what our middle school program is all about. In a normal year, we'd be at Longfellows. There'd be 100. There'd be about 100 of us there. We talk a lot about volunteering for regattas. Our regattas are, I want to say, the backbone of our organization, but they're not. The people are, and the people spend a lot of time on regattas, right? But without regattas, we've been pretty flexible, and we've been able to do some amazing things this summer and this year, despite the challenges. But in a normal year, we'd be talking a lot about regattas. You would get a calendar of events with all the days off and all the regattas and all the race schedules that would get us through the end of October and to the beginning of November. And we have a much smaller calendar of events. And we'd be super excited for the fall. And this year, a little different. We're on Zoom, no regattas, no mass gatherings. And there's a caveat to that, and I'll explain it. But we're still excited for the fall. We're excited coming out of the summer where we spent the entire summer in 1-person and 2-person boats to be back in 4-person boats. We're really excited for that. And this is going to be a fun fall. Tonight we'll be done by 8:30, I promise. Here's an overlook of an overview of the things we're going to be going over, right? An idea of what we're looking at, and then you just kind of take note. So if you have questions on something on this agenda that we're not hitting, make sure you ask. Communication and questions. So your coaching staff, you met everyone. Their emails are on the left. They also are usually going to be on the emails that go out through Constant Contact. If you ever send me an email and you're not sure who it goes to, you can just send it to me and I'll forward it to the coaches. Specifically absences. Most of your athletes should have received an email from me, or they should have their coaches' emails. And if you're not sure how to get information from your coach, you can always send it to me and I'll just forward it right along. And please ask questions. I will say that a couple times so I can really emphasize that. We'll communicate one of two ways: before an event or after an event. So we always try and communicate proactively instead of trying to fix things after. So practice times this year are a little less complicated. I think the boys are at 3:15, the girls are at 3:30. Do we roll in the rain? Yes. Our drop-off and pickups are a little different because we try and time it so that there's not as much lingering in the boathouse. We will go over what to wear later. And absences and lates, we'll go over that kind of policy as well in a little bit. Right, but please ask questions. The first one is one of our biggest ones, is our athlete code of conduct. The coaches have gone over with your child at practice, right? And now we're going to ask you to go over it with your child. We'll email it out again so you have it. But there's a lot in there, and we want everyone to be on the same page. So what we're going to ask is that you go over with your child, that that both of you sign it and you get it back to us. You can either bring in a paper version and hand it to your coach, whether it's Coach Bean or Coach Morgan or Coach Mo, or you can email it to me. I have an iPhone. I use the scanner app, and that's super helpful. You just take a picture, it becomes a PDF, and you can email it to me as well, right? And I always put that quote at the bottom: your registration, your fees get you in the door. The athlete's actions will keep them here, right? And if they're not incongruence with the code of conduct, then we're going to ask them to leave. Tentative race schedule. So a standard year on the left, and I want to share what a standard year is, so we just have a point of reference, right? But volunteer registration usually opens up the second Monday in September. It opens up pretty early. We'll host a Tail of Fish, which is a one-day race the last weekend of September. We will go down to Niskayuna. We'll race down there. We'll have a couple of days off. We'll race the Head of the Fish, which is usually the last weekend in October. And then Mod Championships will race the first week in November. That's kind of what a middle school season looks like. And this year, we'll still have a couple days off. We will be doing a virtual Head of the Fish on Halloween weekend, right? We are hosting one of the 5 U.S. rowing virtual races. So teams and crews from around the country will submit their times virtually and still be able to compete. And we'll do that up here as well. We're clearly going to submit our own times and kind of race. What's exciting this time is that normally a regatta and who travels, it's limited by distance. So we see teams from the Northeast, but because it's virtual and anyone can submit, this year we're racing hopefully globally. Anyone can submit their scores, right? Modified championships, right, will be a thing because as the governor's order, you can only compete in your region. You can have a competition regionally for low and medium risk sports. And we, all the modified schools locally is what comprises our modified championships. So that is still tentatively on the schedule. We don't have a date for it. We wanted to get through registration these first couple of weeks, and make sure everything got up and running. But we are planning to run a modified championship in person, not virtually, in person. And again, tentatively on the schedule, on Saturdays is race day for the varsity. And towards the end of the season, we'll invite the mods to join in to get in our bridge to bridge which is from the Skidmore Bridge down to the 9P Bridge. Right, so a little bit a different schedule, but we still have racing opportunities and things for the athletes to be excited about. Back to volunteering again, a point of reference, just so everyone knows when you're. We hope you stick with this for forever. We hope you become lifelong rowing families, and we want to give you a point of reference. Normally, in addition to your registration fees, every family will have 20 volunteer hours. And Saratoga was just made the top 10 rowing venues. So that is pretty weird. We're a place that people want to come between the fish heads and the awesome view from the bridge where you can actually see the races. We're a premier rowing destination. That's exciting. All right, this year, no regattas. So no regatta volunteering. What does regatta volunteering look like? Sometimes it's parking. Right, when we have 10,000 people in town, we got to find a place to park them. We have our green team. We've got medals and awards. We've got registration. We've got timing. We've got people on the water making sure the race runs smoothly. Right, so we've got several different teams working within the regatta. All right, and that's what regatta volunteering kind of looks like. We'll still need some help. We just don't know how yet. Right. So it's an early fall, and I imagine we'll need help. And when we do, we'll send out a call. And so far, our parents have been truly amazing helping out and making sure that we keep moving forward. Another thing on the calendar will be our rowathon. Right? So our rowathon, the middle school does it over a couple days. They'll row, I believe it's 20 miles. Right? And in congruence with that, we'll send out 20 letters to friends and families and people you already have an existing relationship with. In the past, we've had a lot of letters to presidents and Instagram people. You need to know them and they need to know you in order for them to be on your list of 20. And what we're going to ask you to do is kind of start putting those lists together. And you'll get an email about it with more details. But we ask everyone to start putting that list together. And from someone who's seen this happen year after year, my advice is put it on an Excel sheet and save it again for next year. So you're not making up the list from scratch every year. Plus, it helps you with if you print the stickers, that'll help as well. Parent handbook. I will email this out again. I have the link. If I click the link, I know I put that there. That was silly. But all of your major questions will be found in the parent handbook, and we put that together just over a year ago. Just putting a place for parents to, at their own leisure, learn about rowing. A lot of times for middle school parents, it's like drinking from a fire hose. There's just so much information coming in at once. And this is a place where you can just kind of, at your own pace, learn about rowing, ask me questions, and kind of see the most common questions that get answered or get asked. After this presentation, I will send this presentation out in an email along with the link to the parent handbook as well. What to wear? This gets asked a lot, right? And this is super relevant for this year because our season is longer than it has been in the past, right? On warm days, we don't want a cotton shirt. We want a dry wet t-shirt, some spandex or short shorts. Long basketball shorts will get caught underneath the seats, so that's hard to row in. Water, sunscreen, and sneakers in case it may be sunny and 75, but if it's windy, we may not be able to row, so we'll go for a run, so we want sneakers. On cold days, we want some cold gear, long spandex or sweatpants. The Champion sweatpants are kind of great sweatpants. Still want water, sunscreen, sneakers, right? And we're planning on rowing through mid-November, right? So that cold gear is a little more relevant this year. COVID considerations. On the left were all our questions that we asked during the year, during the summer as part of our check-in process. We're not having athletes check in this year or this fall, but these questions kind of give you an idea of when you should and shouldn't be coming to the boathouse. Right now that the schools are doing check-in, an athlete who can't go to school shouldn't come to practice, and that's kind of the general rule, right? And then on the right, just a couple guidelines: keep your space, wash your hands, and always wear your mask on land. And we got to look out for each other. We got to be great teammates. Mo, any questions yet, or should I just keep chugging along? Chugging along.
Chugging along. No questions yet.
Awesome. Oh, perfect. Last slide. Question. Here are your take-home points. If you only get 3 things from this whole PowerPoint, is please ask questions. All right. Please let us know. We want to help. The middle school coaches have been coaching middle school for a long time. We know that when we get a brand new rower to the boathouse, we most likely get a brand new parent as well. So we know you're learning the sport at the same speed that they are, and we ask you to ask questions. Please check your emails. All right, that is how most of our information gets communicated to our middle school parents. Right, is via email. And please don't bring sickness to the boathouse. Right. I'll be around to ask some questions. I'll post this on YouTube, and you can always email us if you have any questions. And I end with that thing, that kind of quote at the bottom. A lot has changed over the past 6 months, but also a lot has remained the same. We still have an amazing. I realize how fortunate I am, lucky I am to work with an amazing coaching staff, right, and to be surrounded by amazing Orion athletes, who are not only excellent coaches, but then they're excellent examples for our athletes. We still expect a lot of ourselves. You know, we're still always chasing. I tell the varsity boys we're chasing greatness, right? We're pursuing excellence, and those expectations are still the same. And we're glad you are with us. Welcome to the SRA family. We're excited you're here. And now I will open it up for any sort of questions we might have.
Manny, we do have a first question of
Okay.
can you explain the rowathon more?
Sure. So our rowathon, the varsity will do it in one day. They'll charge the mileage, but it's a fundraiser where we ask community members, friends, families, people that you know, to donate to our rowathon. Right, and that rowathon will go to that's one of our major fundraisers. So we ask that in the letter, and we'll have a form letter for you to fill out. It says, "Dear," and the athlete, your child puts the name, "Dear Miss Susie." The letter at the bottom, it says "from." They put their name. We ask them to put a personalized note. They'll fold that. They'll put it in an envelope. They'll leave the envelope open. We'll vet all those because a lot of times they're not to the standard we'd like, specifically who they're writing it to or the language that's on there. So we just make sure that we're keeping everyone accountable. And then it is a fundraiser. We are going to ask for donations from the community. And then at the end, there will be an announcement of how much we raised for the rowathon. Thank you notes will be sent out from the office. And that is general synopsis of our rowathon. Did I miss anything? Bean, Cat? Is that pretty much?
Yeah,
something?
Manny, I can add a little bit. We do also provide a list of the names of people who donated in your child's name. There's a lot of times the kids will also, or the families will also write a thank you. One will be coming from the office, but you know, about a month or so after the event, as we start getting everything in, we'll send out a list of who made donations in case you want to thank them as well. And that tends to be a very good fundraiser for us. It's probably, I mean, outside of regattas, which raise the most money, that's the big fundraiser. We don't sell, you know, plants or cookies or go door to door for anything. We do this one event, and it has been a strong one for us over the years.
So Manny and Kat, just your kids will fill these out one day at the boathouse for one of the practices. Is that how we're still going to handle it? We keep the envelopes at the boathouse?
So in years past, we've always done it at the boathouse. We're a little wary to do that now because it would be a whole
Hold
bunch of
up,
people
right.
sitting around the same space trying to do it. So we are going to probably send them home to be filled out, which the envelopes may get filled out better at home than they do at the boathouse. But the wariness is that when we made that switch to all doing it in person, we raised like $10,000 more. We used to send them all home, and then people would send them out, and then we said, no, let's all do it together at the boathouse. And there was a significant increase in how much we raised when we all did it together. So we'll be really counting on the families to fill them out at home, bring them back, and we bulk mail them out. So that's another reason why it's important to not seal them, because we can't bulk mail them if they're sealed up.
Great. Thanks for explaining that.
Manny, I have another question.
Yep.
For kids coming from further away and with our bathrooms and changing rooms being closed, how do you suggest that we work with that? Kids coming from Ballston Spa or
Queensbury.
this
I think
after school?
Yeah, I think for the bathroom purposes, that the easiest thing would be to go to Stewart's, where we know that it's cleaned on a regular basis, which is right across the bridge. We don't have the capability or facility to clean on every 2 hour basis at the boathouse, which is what they ask gyms to do right now, and so. Since our practices are less than 2 hours, we kind of keep those closed. The emergency place, we can take care of things in emergencies. Obviously, if we clean up and kind of clean if somebody does go in there. But I've been telling the varsity to use the bathrooms at Stewart's before they come to practice.
And I've been telling the varsity boys to wear their uni underneath their street clothes, and then when they just have their uni on. That's what I've been advising them to do. Yeah.
Another one for you. Is there an expected minimum amount that each family is supposed to raise?
We don't have an expected minimum amount. We just asked for the 20 names and addresses, and I would say that the average amount has probably been about $350 across the 20 addresses. That obviously comes in different sizes, but when people struggle to come up with 20 addresses, you'd be surprised. Like, some of the most generous donations are from your dentist and your doctor, and somebody who realizes that they have like 12 kids that are their patients that are on the rowing team, and then they'll make a generous donation. So it doesn't all have to be your next door neighbor or your mother-in-law. It's a combination of just acquaintances and other people in your life that might realize that a lot of their friends and family are in the program.
Any other question before I stop recording? All right, so I'll stop recording here.